for coming back to the Feminist Frame. I'm Olivia. Today, we're joined by my usual co-host, the wonderful Aubrey.
Hello.
We also got some guests with us today. Stephanie's here.
Woo, hey.
And our buddy Z.
What's up?
Today, we're going to talk about Captain Marvel. A little background on it. On the Kree planet of Hala, Star Force warriors prepare to wage battle with their intergalactic neighbors, the Skrulls, who have some badass shape-shifting abilities, by the way. Anywho, Star Force member Vers suffers from amnesia and doesn't quite remember her life before Star Force. She keeps having recurring memories of another life, later to be revealed as U.S. Air Force pilot Carol Danvers. With help from Nick Fury, Captain Marvel tries to uncover the secrets of her past while harnessing her special superpowers to end the Kree-Skrull War. This happens to be Marvel's first movie in the MCU with a female lead. Despite dubious efforts of human garbage bags trying to tank review sites and protest this film, Captain Marvel has showed out, earning $153 million in its opening weekend and has broke $1 billion in global sales. So take that, trolls. So I'm super excited to talk about this today. I think you guys know that I've been reading Captain Marvel comics. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. For a little bit now. So I got a full Carol Danvers background, and I've been pumped for this for the past 4 years. I've been waiting for this to come out. So, what did you guys think? Initial takes?
I really liked it. I was expecting this is probably one of the first movies where it was I heard a lot of good and a lot of bad. And the bad was from a lot of hurt white guys. And this was pretty funny because I even showed you I showed Olivia the Rotten Tomato article got taken down because there was a lot of fake reviews on Rotten Tomato. Even the premiere, before the premiere, because it's so how are all these people seeing this movie that hasn't even came out before the premiere yet? So even I even was sharing with her these videos, and it's multiple guys being "Oh, no, this movie isn't for men," or it's are you that upset? It's almost like the Jordan Peele of Us, when he's "Oh, I don't really need to have white guys as my main characters." "Oh, we're so hurt." It's
yeah,
there were every other movie.
There were a lot of male tears surrounding
white men, and anything with a female or person of color, it's "Oh my God, how could they?" I'm hurt. It's
I saw a lot of comments too about she wasn't sexy enough, or
God.
I mean, you have to be sexy to fight crime.
Yeah,
if Brie Larson isn't sexy enough, there is no hope for any of us.
That's why they put nipples on bat suits, man.
Yeah,
it's you're George Clooney. You cannot be Batman without them nips. Let's get them nips. The guys love the nips.
Gotta see them.
I just have to know that 1 minute into a superhero review, and we've already gone to Joel Schumacher.
Already talking about the
worst ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely want to talk about some of the trolls trying to take down this movie. But first, Stephanie, what were your initial thoughts?
First take, I loved it. I mean, I just love a good superhero movie, and that's what it was. It without even taking into account the impact on women and girls and everything, just seeing a female superhero be the center of a movie. Even aside from that, it was a good movie. It was well constructed. It was entertaining. I did think it had a little bit of a slow build up. Yeah, but then the end finished out really strong for me, and I enjoyed it. I do have a little bit of a secret, not so secret bias, because I am in the Air Force, so she's my girl.
So you're already rooting for her.
Yeah. I mean, it was really fun for me to see a lot of those aspects also.
That's fair. Yeah, I did end up liking it.
A residential superhero movie hater over here, Aubrey.
Not necessarily hater, but definitely I think I'm the biggest skeptic of this group for sure. And I have read Captain Marvel comics, not quite as enthusiastically as Olivia has, but I've read them and I mostly enjoy them. It grew on me though. I will say that it grew on me because the first 10 minutes I was how long is this movie?
Yeah.
That fucking fight scene with Jude Law. I just thought it was
Training.
so ridiculous. I hated
Everybody has
it.
to have a montage.
Yeah, it definitely, once she got to Earth and started playing off the other human characters, it grew on me a lot more. But I do have to say, like, one of my favorite reviews that I heard, I think it was Pop Culture Happy Hour, was just like, if anything, this just proves that women have every right to make subpar movies as much as men do. And put a lot of budget toward it. Because how many, I mean, Ant-Man? Come on.
Yeah.
Like, how many shitty movies
The
have
rest
there
of the
been?
Iron
Like,
Man.
we can
Iron Man
have
is pretty
a
average,
mediocre superhero movie also.
Actually, listening to
Captain America.
Feminist Frequency, which is a podcast I'm loving, by the way, they actually talk about that as well. Like, I can't wait for the day, you know, basically where, you know, a female-led superhero film or a film in general isn't like a referendum on like if it will do well at the box office.
All of movies starring women?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Like,
well,
everything has to be fantastic, otherwise it's not worth putting out.
Right. And
And
like women aren't coming to see these movies.
Right.
Like,
and
if
the
you're
same
not-
thing happens with like movies led by people of color, you know, like Miss
Hallelujah.
Bala's coming out later this year and it's already being talked about as like a referendum on like
it's a
Latinx
American
like
remake.
cast.
It's an American remake, though. Just like a side note.
Yeah, but I mean, she did have like a 75% Latinx cast and crew.
Oh, she does.
Yeah. But, you know, the same thing happens also. It was like, oh, good thing that Black Panther broke all these records and now we can make more movies. Like, no. I mean, yes, but no.
It's great, but that's not how that works. I will say, I think some of the reasons, I do kind of understand the reasoning behind why they set the movie up the way they did. Like, that fight scene with Jude Law and everything, and like the heavy-handed of her background with the Kree was like really trying to set people up to like be surprised at the end.
Fall for it.
Yeah, when it's
I don't
like,
think it worked very well. But.
no, it didn't. But I see what they were trying to do.
Like, I actually don't think they tried to do that, because like the way I saw it, because I can't remember the actor's name. He was like basically like the black dude with Jude Law, but because like we talked about this,
Yeah.
but it was he was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, and we're fucking what's his name? He fought him basically, but he had like this tech coming out of his head. But but
he
like I knew
was
he was a bad
upgraded
guy.
with the.
Like, and even like looking like, because I'm like, they were very monotone.
Yeah.
You know, like they weren't really like, because even when Brie Larson's character was like the happiest person on that entire planet.
Right.
Because even when they're in a subway, everyone's just as quiet.
And they were
Everyone's
all
quiet.
like
Everyone's
shitty with no
quiet.
sense of
Yeah,
humor.
exactly. Because
Well, and it was like if you hadn't read any background on Captain Marvel or any of the comics or seen any other MCU movie, then you would have been fooled. Which is why I do think it started slow. Like I think they could have cut a lot of that, condensed it, and had the same effect.
I do.
didn't mind.
I think like as origin films go, especially in the MCU, like
Yeah.
none of the origin movies are my favorite.
Right.
They all don't do as well as like the sequels because I think you get to know the characters a little bit more.
That's true.
I think it was my favorite origin, because I can't remember any other superhero movie where the villain wasn't.
Isn't the villain?
Well, no, where the villain wasn't like they didn't have their power, you know, Iron Man. Oh, I have a mech suit too, you know, like
Oh,
even
yeah,
Black
like the
Panther. Yeah,
matching,
it's like
yeah.
oh, like we have the same equipment, so only like, you know, the better person will win, because like we both have the same equipment. But Captain Marvel was like, no, like this is my power, motherfucker. Like not everyone can be Superman. Like, you know, if everyone was walking around with like, you know, Superman's powers, then it wouldn't be cool.
Right.
But and I also liked in this movie, I've never seen a villain really have backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Oh,
the
he's
kind
got a
of
whole
like
squad.
the,
No,
the one against, you know, the bad guys against the world, and
Well, yeah,
they're all
because
trying
like
to.
he had like his own crew. Jude Law had his own crew, and then he even called in the one dude with the hammer, and he brought all his spaceships.
Drax the Destroyer.
Yeah, Drax the
no,
Destroyer.
no, not Drax.
Not-
My
not
bad.
Drax.
It's Ronan the
Ronan,
Accuser.
yeah, Ronan the Accuser with the hammer.
Lee
But, like,
Pace.
we
Lee
like
Pace.
He came in, you know, and then he left because he's like, "Fuck." He's like, "Well, she's destroying most of my ships." But so like,
Goodbye.
Jude Law had backup and everything. How many times have Joker doesn't have like, you know, another like Two-Face
Well, we
coming
are
back
dealing
him
with,
in,
you know,
So I thought it was really good.
Militaries of whole
But like,
planets here.
I actually
but
would
of course.
argue, though, that shell bad guy thing is, like, a very overused thing.
The what?
You know what I mean? Like, Jude Law was the shell bad guy, but the real one that she's going after is the supreme power. Mm-hmm. You know, like that kind of is an overused trope.
Like there's a bigger, more evil power
Like,
behind.
he's her personal villain, but then the greater evil is, I know what you're saying.
I'm trying to get that in.
But I do think I agree with you about origin stories, and I am a DC fan. So even thinking of like the Dark Knight series, like Batman Begins was
Yeah.
as
Everyone
far,
talks
and
about-
then you come up with the
No,
the
it's-
second in the trilogy is just like
No, because everyone's even like of a new one. This what is it? The Dark Knight Returns of Heath Ledger as Joker. Yeah, like no one cares about. I mean, Begins was good, but
yeah.
this is almost like the Terminator series. Like the second one outshines T1.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have high hopes for a sequel.
I'm super looking forward to a sequel, or even her in Endgame. Like now that we've like got to know who she is, and maybe we could see a little bit more of the personality. Because I actually, to Stephanie's point, how the first half sort of drags. Like I don't think she really even like comes into her character. I don't know if it was like a difficult to like play this, amnesiac. Like I don't know kind of what's going on, and I'm just driving in one direction. I'm missing my memories or what, but eventually when she kind of learns who she is more, releases more of her powers and kind of comes into that, like, I feel like she had more fun with the character. Brie Larson had more fun with the character. It's more playful. And I definitely enjoyed, like, the second half a whole lot more.
Absolutely. Well, and playing off of Samuel L. Jackson and some of the other side characters definitely gave her a lot more to go off of, because like you said, I mean, I unpopular opinion, I didn't love Brie Larson in this movie. That's hard for me to say because I love Brie Larson, but I don't think the comic thing really worked for her.
She's good.
But like you said, like an amnesiac character with like no goals,
But no,
that's not a lot to go off of. Carol Danvers, until she figures out who she is.
But that's the thing. Like that's why I think, because like why she was coming out like when she got to Earth, because humans with this, especially Samuel Jackson's character, like she met more nice people, like
more personable.
Yeah, because like literally, like, even like Jude Law, because
folks.
even like because I'm like because when we talked about it, I'm like, is Jude Law her love interest? And Olivia's like, no, and I'm like, okay, because like she was always just like being playful, kind of like like, oh, do you think of me? Like when you go into that chamber, or whatever. He's like, no, like he was like him and all of them, like because even when she's like said like to one of the dudes like, oh, you're not that handsome, but the other dude was like, yeah, you're a classic handsome, and it was funny, but like they still had stone faces. Like they weren't supposed to be playful.
They weren't playful,
and even like Jude Law is like, don't use your powers. Like she was in a very restricted, like it was like because like me and Stephanie, like she's in the Air Force, I've been in the Army, and it's like you're not allowed to have a personality. You're another number, and that's exactly what they felt like. Like I was watching a military faction, because even though they might joke, they are still stone faced.
Yeah.
And Brie Larson, she was joking because she was in the Air Force too, but she knew how to actually have fun.
So you're saying like not fully being able to like be free and be who she maybe was.
Exactly.
You think she's
because
holding
like
back a little bit?
they were like 100% militant, and they were lying to her. Like.
And I got
So
this,
it was like,
I got the
maybe
sense,
she wasn't already allowed in it anyway.
I did get the sense too that like thinking about it within a military frame of when you have people that are struggling with adjusting to the lifestyle, the harder they crack down on that almost. It's like the more you are trying to have a personality, the more they're like, no. And that's what, I mean, like the very beginning when, they were talking about her being too emotional and all that. So it was almost like they were, and I mean, the Kree obviously are that way anyway, but especially within that sense of them trying to restrict that part of her, because they knew, dramatic irony, that, she was human and was this potential threat, and
that they wanted her energy. Didn't they want her energy?
Right.
Like they wanted her power. So but when they were deceiving her from the very get go, and they were also trying to keep her though. They were deceiving her and trying to keep her.
Yeah.
So,
but that said, I do think that the side characters really brought the movie home and made it a lot more relatable. I thought Maria, played by Lashana Lynch,
Oh, yeah.
acted her ass off.
No, she was amazing.
She was so good.
The emotional moments of that movie were their interactions.
Absolutely
that's
on
what brought
her,
tears to my
yes.
eyes,
And they
for sure.
felt